Barakah Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushai. I want to give a double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word in sound doctrine and in the same Spirit. Shalom to the Akwatiyam, believers of this faith and this truth. Lord willing that you all continue to endure and be sincere in the same Spirit and sound doctrine. And Lord willing, most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. I want to get right into it. Where it says on the screen, this was given to me by the brother Yarmayan, and it was hitting. It says, once you learn the truth of the Bible, this is what you look like to these demons in the world. Now, in a spiritual sense, because you can't really see the glow like Bruce Leroy. You can't really see the glow that's within you. Now, the elect, the Lord already know who they is. So truly, when you look at this word, when you look at this image, Salaki, we are illuminated in the spirit. But then eventually, when Yahweh Shai come, when those chosen is known, right, that light is going to actually be able to be seen. And right now, only the elect, like the other men, other women, they're going to be hearkening to the men of the Lord, right? And hearken in the way of hearing these lessons, right? These breakdowns, right? Character building, exhortations, prophecies, parables, right? Just to build themselves up. But in that day, right, even if it's women or men, whoever's around, they're going to really know that these men are illuminated, right? Even you women that believe, and you children, you have a light on you too, right? So let's just hop right into it. Lord willing, this is not too long, straight to the point. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, in verse 24. It says, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. That wise king is Yahweh Shai. And for the wise is the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the bishops, the teachers of this word, right? For them to be the welfare, they are the exemption from evil. They are the good fortune. In a spiritual sense, in another spiritual sense, they prosper in wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and they do well, right? They're the welfare of the world, right? When you come in as truth, right? A lot of times, when depending on how your faith is, a lot of us don't have that worry. Oh no, I'm not making enough money. But if you getting by, you got money in your pocket, right? A lot of those, the wise men that are the welfare of the world, their main focus is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai sheep. They came in this truth. Really, it was the Lord that drew them in this thing for His purpose, to be a shepherd of the flock. Let alone, sometimes brothers is not teaching in how your mannerism, how you move, how you deal with situations, your life. You got some of the wise men that are of an elder age, right? Still walking, still healthy, moving, maybe working out, right? Those things motivate other men in this thing because they are the welfare, right? They are the welfare of the world. And we're talking about all different type of ages, really talking about the 144,000, right? And for you other elect, a lot of y'all are benefiting off of these lessons, off of these teachings. Now, if you're able to be around the men of the Lord, like you women that have husbands, right? Or you women that's learning under the feet of the men, right? Or you other brothers, you're learning their mannerisms, right? You men that might not be teachers, but you learn under them, or men that is teachers and you learn under these other men, right? Doesn't matter if it's a younger brother and you learning under him. Guess what? Brothers is almost saying the same words the same way. Like, yeah, you see, brothers through the spirit, you start picking up certain things that they do, right? Brothers might be using a certain app, ChatGPT, or searching certain things. You start following what they do just to make sure that you're bringing 100% truth, right? You might sacrifice certain things so that the ministry don't be a blame. And you pick a lot of those things up by the wise men because they are the welfare of the world, right? Let's keep going. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60, And let's read verse 1. I believe verse 1 to maybe 1 to 3. But let's just read 1 to 2 right now. It says, "Arise, shine, for the light is come, in the glory of Yahweh is risen upon you." Right? First we have to shine. But we shine for thy light is come. The light is Yahweh Shai. We see it on the screen, 1 John 1 and 7. "But if we walk in the light as he is in the light," which is Yahweh Shai, and that light is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Right? We have fellowship one with another in the blood of Yahweh Shai. Hamashiach is the son. Hamashiach, his son, cleanseth us from all sin. Not the law. Yahweh Shai cleanses from all sin. And us still being in this flesh, we sin sometimes without even knowing. Sometimes it's even hard because you're in captivity, but because of that light that you're walking in, right? Through the spirit, every day, brothers or sisters is trying to do better. They're trying to do their best. We cannot do our best if we wasn't consumed by the light. Let me get another one. Ephesians 6, verse 14. It says, "Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with the truth." Right? That light is the truth. The truth is Yahweh Shai. Right? What is that? St. John 14 and 6. Right? Your loins is really talking about your mind. Have your loins girded about the truth. Have your mind girt with the truth. It says, "And having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shine with the preparation of the gospel of peace." Right? Now, I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to go to the blue letter on my other device, and I'm going to look up that word preparation. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 15 with the preparation. And this is G2091.
Strong's G 2091. Hetoimasiah.
The biblical uses is the act of preparing, the condition of a person or a thing so far forth as preparedness, readiness. So that's what that preparation is, the act of preparing, right? So your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, right? The act of preparing, right? So in order to have your feet shine with the preparation, the act of preparing of the gospel, you have to be in action. But guess what? Even in this gospel, you gotta have understanding, right? It says, "Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked," right? And our faith is in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, just like your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so many more. You have to fully believe in Yahweh, especially through his son Yahweh Shai, where the Heavenly Father sent his son. A lot of people can't believe in that. You know? Verse 17, it says, "And take the helmet of salvation in the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God." Right? Right? And to be that light, you have to know how to wield your sword, your spiritual sword. This is a weapon. Well, like it says, that I believe in 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, right? Especially having the Spirit of the Lord, the Ruach HaKodesh, it helps us to pull down the strongholds that our brothers and sisters have in this society, man. Right? Let's get another one, because just going off of what I just said about the strongholds, that goes with Isaiah 60 and 2, right? Where it says, "Behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people." Right? That's Jake in a dead estate. Revelations 11 and 8. Right? That darkness is a dead estate. That darkness is the world. But with the light, we come out the world. Let alone when we look at verse 3, right? This is dealing with the Gentiles are drawn to Israel's light. Now, we look at this as the gospel going leading us to the New Testament with Paul, which is really just disperse and scatter Israelites. Because if we're not in the kingdom, how is this light drawn to Gentiles? First, we got to get the Gentile Israelites, right, that are scattered four corners of the earth. And how do we get them? Right, not by going to every country, every city, right? We teach this word, and the Lord did the heavy lifting for us by putting it on Esau mind to make these freaking channels where we can do a video and send it out, and it goes four corners of the earth, right? Like I did a video one time, and I showed the most views I get on my channel is from Japan, United Kingdom, UK, and so many other places, which if I was to look at a year total, I probably got 33.6% in the United States. But if I looked at in a weekly, it's usually 10% of the United States watching, but I got over 40 to 60% in Japan watching. Who is that? But who's making sure that this word is being heard? Is the Lord. Man's going to the Lord. And you got to have faith and believe in those things, right? So I want to get another one of the light. I want to get 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, and I want to read 8 and 9. It says, but let us who are of the day, right? That day is that light. Just like when you go to Genesis 1, right? He called the light day and called the dark night, right? Getting it again. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 8. It says, but let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love. That love is an action and truth. And for an helmet, the hope of salvation. Going back to Ephesians 6. For the Most High have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. So if we're going to obtain salvation, who is that? Who's really illuminated? Who is really the light of the world right now? Right? Let's get that in Romans 7, because it says, what it say? It says, but to obtain salvation. Wait, verse 9 it says, for the Most High have not appointed us to wrath. If he didn't appoint you to wrath, somebody has to be appointed to wrath. The 2/3. Who's not appointed to wrath? The elect. The elect. Those that were predetermined, predestined. That's Ephesians, the 1st chapter, verse 1 to 14. Go read it. Right? Romans 11 and 7. It says, what then what then Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for? Right? All Israel have not obtained what they seek for. But the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Right? The election is talking about the elect that were predestined to get it. Right? They are the election of the Lord. They are the election of the Lord. Literally, they were selected before the foundations of the heavens and the earth. The first spirits created. Right? Just like how Yahushua was predetermined to come on the earth before he even came down here. The spirits that Yahushua made before the heavens and the earth, starting with the men, they were predestined to do the same thing as Yahushua, right? To live on the earth. That's why when we first speak about, the elect in the beginning of this walk in Genesis, they were called the sons of God, right? And then later on, the sons of God became a nation, right, through the loins of Noah and through his son. I'm not going to say sons, but through his son Shem. And eventually became a mighty nation, which is the Israelites, who the Lord loves, who he's chosen, who he called. And all the way before that nation was called, you had the bloodline all the way from the loins of Adam going all the way to the sons of God right before the flood, where they were called to be renowned. They were called to be the example of righteousness. But just like how Jake is now, going back to Isaiah 60 and 2, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth. Even in the beginning of time, after Adam, the Cain and Abel, right, the sons of God, darkness was covering the earth. Right? Our sins was reaching up to the heavens, and the Lord flooded the whole earth, man, because of the wickedness. And who was preserved? Only 8 people. Noah, his 3 sons, their wives, and their mother. And the Lord brought the nations back in a complete through the loins of his sons. Right? Ham brought the Hamites, right, through his loins. Shem brought the people of Shem, right? And then Japheth brought the people of Japheth. Right? Those descendants is still on the earth. The Edomites come from Shem. Right? They're Shemites. They're not Hebrew Israelites, but they're Hebrew Edomites. You know? Ishmael, he's a Hebrew Ishmaelite coming out the loins of Shem. Right? So again, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, the gross darkness, the people. Really dealing with Israel, because Israel have not obtained what they seek it for. That's why 2/3 on this side must be destroyed. That's why they can never understand that light right there. That's what it says. Once you learn this truth of the Bible, this is what you look like to these demons in the world. Right? First, dealing with the children of Israel, just like the Pharisees, when Yahushua came on the earth, he was like this towards them. Stay with me, man. Don't get lost in the sauce. When Yahushua was on the earth, the same way how you see that light on that screen, right? Yahushua was like that, and the Pharisees kept trying to trap Yahushua and didn't understand what he was saying, because they was too trapped in the world. They were in darkness. Now, if we go to the other nations, Esau and the other 16 nations, Yahushua was the same reflection of them. But we always first have to deal with the children of Israel first, because the Lord said, out of all the nations of the earth, he knew us. Right? Let me get that, and then I'm going to go back to the Isaiah 60, and then we're going to finish that. Right? I just want to get this real quick. The classic in Amos. It's so exciting to get into this word, man. I actually might just do a live on just getting into the word. Right? This is Amos chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, here is the word that Yahweh have spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So when we talk about darkness, we want to speak about Israel first, right? Because Israel was meant to be in the light. We were created to be in the light, right? So Isaiah 60 and 2, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but Yahweh shall arise upon them, which he raised up Yahushai, and his glory shall be upon thee. Right? Yahushai came, right, which he arised upon us, right? But then his glory shall be seen upon us, which is really this truth. This truth came upon us. This wisdom, knowledge, understanding, because Yahushua said if we believe in him, right, we're going to get the Rakah Kodash. Then he told the apostles where they had to go teach in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost part of the earth, right? But it wasn't going to happen until Yahushua get glorified and go to the Father. When he went to the Father, the next chapter, they were filled with the Rakah Kodash and started speaking tongues in multiple languages. Soon as Yahushua left, it happened. Ephesians 1 and 14 in the Amplified Bible, you can definitely read it in the KJV, but in the Amplified, it tells you that the Rakah Kodash was the first installment. So through the Spirit, looking at this picture, the wise men, the elect men, even if you don't know it, you are illuminated. You have a light on you. Right? And this remind me, this is why I wanted to do this lesson, because as soon as I saw it, I thought of Yarmayan. And the craziest thing, after I seen this video, I'm at work, and I usually do work out, and the machine was just going crazy. So Yarmayan, what I said in another video where he was talking about when he was with my sister, his wife, and they was out, and these bees and these flies kept following him. Not stinging him, just following him. Wherever he walked, they followed. She was like, man, why is these bees and flies following you? And then she said, oh, now I know. Because they could see that light in you. You know, that you're a man of the Lord. And so I'm thinking of that at work when I seen that, and I went to go try to do some pull-ups at work. And all these damn fruit flies or maggots kept coming near me. Now, it's just me just thinking in a way of right after I start thinking of this picture. Because I was already doing my little workout, my pull-ups, right in the same area where they were at. And I wasn't thinking of them. I wasn't seeing them. But as soon as I seen this picture, now they start coming. They start flying near me. And where was they at before they flew? They were next to they were flying back and forth to a light. Because you know how mosquitoes and gnats, they're attracted to to the light. So as soon as I do a pull-up, I would see them leave the light and come to me. As soon as I leave, they would go back to the light. So I go to another area, and then it's more lights. And then those gnats is coming near me too. Now that's just me just thinking just off of just a picture. Who's to say the mosquitoes probably landed on me and was biting me up? But it was just, this what made me, drawed me to doing this lesson, right? You are a light. This is why we attract certain conversations when you are in the store, right? A random brother, a sister, right? Just a random conversation, which happens to me and my brothers a lot when we get done with camp. The GMS Orlando, when they got done with camp, OG came up and he started dropping gems and speaking spiritual, man. It be through the spirit, the men of the Lord, the wise men, they are attractive. They're a light that is attractive. Right? And another thing that goes with that darkness shall cover the earth, or gross darkness the people, goes with Deuteronomy 28 and 28. Right? Confusion, astonishment, and madness. And that's affecting Jake. Right? Because first, we want to be speaking of Jake. Right? Especially when we talk about this light that some can see and some cannot see. We're going to go to the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, verse 14 to 16. It says, if ye are the light of the world. Wait, let me start at 13. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his Savior, wherewith shall he be salted? That salt is that wisdom. If we lose that salt, what is we, man? Solomon said it, man. In Wisdom of Solomon 9 and 6. Without that wisdom, we are regarded as nothing. Solomon 10 and 21. The wisdom of the Lord will make the dumb eloquent. Some of the men of the Lord don't got a college background. Some brothers probably didn't graduate. But they know more than they professors or they teachers. Right? It says, is it thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out, to be trodden under foot of men? Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Right? This light that you have within you, you can't hide it. Yo, if you are the elect, you can't even run from your duties, man. That's why the elect is going to be drawn to teach the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says, neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on the candlestick, and it giveth life unto all that are in the house. Right? This house that this speaking about through the Spirit is that spiritual temple that we read in I think 1 Peter 2. Right? That house is this spiritual house, man. Let me get that real quick. That's why the men of the Lord, right? You must be giving your time to the Lord, let alone if you're a teacher. When you giving your time to the Lord, you're taking it in. And most of the time when you do a lesson, you let it out. You're letting it out for the sheep, man. Most of the time when I do a lesson, that's why, most of the time you get that warm feeling, right? This is 1 Peter 2 and 5. It says, ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to the Most High by Yahushua HaMashiach. So all this is by Hamashiach Yahushai. We are a spiritual house. This is why you can't hide your light. And if you hide your light, you might not be of the elect. Or one moment you teaching and then you're not teaching. Right? You teeter-totter. Like the lesson I watched earlier, right? Don't put anything before Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. If you go in 2 weeks without a lesson, You going every 3 days without a lesson. You're not even pondering on a lesson, right? You might not be one of those wise men, right? Now, who am I to say? Yes, you might not be of the elect, depending on what you're doing. But if you're not being diligent in this teaching, or in this walk, or this ministry, you might not be one of the wise men, right? Well, what I'm gonna read in 2nd Esdras 14 gives some of these books to those that are worthy and unworthy, but keep the secrets to the wise. So if you ain't being diligent, some brothers don't really know prophecies. They might not know the deep things. Even if they don't know, they not even seeking it. They might not be of that number, right? But they could be of the elect, right? That's why we want to entertain, be distracted by Yahweh Shema Shai as much. You want to consume as much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Lord is giving. Because we see in James, is it James 5 or James 1? Let me go to it real quick. James 1 and 5, it says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So the Lord give wisdom to men freely, and you feed the other sheep when you're consuming this, right? You might consume a chapter, maybe 5 chapters, right? A breakdown, and then you do a lesson that don't pertain to those 5 chapters or that breakdown. And guess what? Somebody was praying on understanding the Lord, and now you did this lesson. Now the Lord has given them, that man, that woman, that child, some wisdom, some understanding, some guidance, some comfort, right? The Lord is working in the spiritual aspect, right? Everything that's done in this reality, the Lord is getting it done in the spirit, right? So back to Matthew, let me read this last verse. Matthew 5 and 16, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, right? To some, they might say their good works is giving out dinners or helping a brother get GED, but that good work is what he told Peter, feed my sheep and feed my flock. Your good works is how you try to master yourself in the sword, by studying, sharpening your sword, how you deal with your brothers. That's one of the greatest commandments, to love your brother. And we talk about brothers in the spirit, not necessarily I'm about to lead this brother to get his GED, right? Which is a good thing. But when it comes to you teaching brothers or sisters, it's all to bring those that believe into the faith. Let me get another precept, because I just said that. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4, and I'm going to start at 13. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, and to doctrine. Right? So we have to give attendance to exhortation, encouragement, and doctrine. Right? So if you're giving attendance to reading, guess what? You're going to give attendance to giving exhortation and the doctrine. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee. That the gift is that light, that wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You should be using it, right? It says, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on the hands of the presbytery. Meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. Right? So we want to meditate on 13:14. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. So we want to take heed to this doctrine. Take heed to yourself. This is why we even go to 2 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, verse 5. Examine yourself to see if you are in the faith. Continue in them, from 13 all the way to 16. And you want to continue in the doctrine. Genesis to 2 Maccabees, Genesis to Revelation. Right? It says, for in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. Right? So this is how we are letting our light shine. And people are going to see our good works. Our good works is us meditating in this doctrine, taking heed unto it. And we're going to continue in them. Right? And the things that we do is going to help us save ourselves and those that hear. What does that mean? How you going to help somebody get saved if you ain't teaching? No, because you're giving attendance to reading, to exhortation, encouragement, and to doctrine. So you're going to give attendance to encourage others to come to the Lord. Hey, repent. Hey, sister, repent. Right? Hey, brothers is going to give exhortation to their household. If something not right, something need a little fixing, right? Wife might be wandering here. Hey, if she might just need a little comfort, you're going to give her encouragement, right? And you're going to still most likely be a man, enjoy yourself, but you're going to give her that, hey, babe, da-da-da-da, make her smile, let her feel like, look, we in this thing. Look how the Lord brought us together, right? You might be bringing up some scriptures, might make a little fool, but then, give her a bedtime story, night. Give her a bedtime story of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. She going to start crying, right? Because it's about us encouraging one another to get closer to the Lord, encouraging one another to think of the Lord, encouraging one another to be occupied in the Lord, to wait on the Lord. Oh, I'm not waiting on the Lord. Sorry, Cap, because you're doing a lot of captain. I'm not waiting on the Lord. How you ain't waiting on the Lord? Then that mean you ain't really teaching. Oh, we can tell what you teaching. You ain't waiting on the Lord. I'm waiting on the Lord by giving out food, helping brothers get their GED, help a brother get a car, right? Help a sister out, carry her groceries if she can't carry it. No, we waiting on the Lord and being occupied by the ministry. That's the main work. What we do for the work that the Lord has already given us is this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Yahushua wasn't waiting for Yahweh to do what he had to do. I mean, Yahushua, Salaki, take that back. Yahushua was waiting on Yahweh, right? Because all these things had to come to play. He just did not come to earth and just die. Everything had to take place. And guess what? That goes back to when brothers say this is a story. Beginning, middle, and end. So in the Lord's, at the end of that story, guess what? He laid himself down for the nation of Israel. But the elect benefit from it. So we got that. Let's go to Philippians 2 and 15 real quick. This Philippians chapter 2, verse 15. It says, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as the light of the world. Right? We are the light of the world. Right? The elect shine through the word. We shine through faith. Right? The way that we can conduct ourselves in this wicked society, showing how we are the light even before the kingdom comes, right? Because what he said, the kingdom is within you, right? Really, it's the light, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is within you, right? Just like when we was going into Matthew 5 and 14 and 16, talking about ye are the light of the world, right? Yahushua was speaking to the disciples, right? Which the disciples, the 12, was symbolic to the 12 tribes of Israel, which the 12 tribes or the disciples is symbolic to the 144,000 teaching this word, this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, right? Yahushua was calling them the light of the world. Even in this current time, through teaching wisdom and righteousness, who you think is teaching? The 144,000, those that are still living, right? Because some of the 144,000 is in the spirit world, right? So now we're going to go to Daniel 12 and 3. This is Daniel chapter 12. This is Daniel chapter 12 and verse 3. It says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. That goes with what we read in Timothy, 1 Timothy 4, right? What we do, right, is going to help us save ourselves and help those that's hearing us, right? Because what it say at the end of that? It says that they may turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever, right? So the elect, the wise men, is teaching righteousness and literally shining like stars in the glory, after salvation, right? We're shining in the midst of the world, because we're the welfare of the world, right? And Lord willing, for those that are enduring in this thing, first talking to, the men that are striving to beat 144,000, Lord willing, we are of the hopeful elect, because we hope to be what we don't see. I want that day to come where I actually know that I am of the elect, regardless if it's the 1/3 or the elect as in the 1/3, right? Lord willing. And you're not just gonna do this just by sitting on your butt. You're not gonna be the light just by just being lazy and a okie dokie. You got work to do, right? Let's get this one in Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3 and verse 5. It says, having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. As gold in a furnace have he tried them and received them as a burnt offering. Right? And we're received as an offering when it comes to laying ourselves down like a living sacrifice. Romans, the 12th chapter, verse 1. Right? And through this trial that we're going through, right? This little trial, when the trial pick up with the MOTB and Jacob's trouble, all of these things are test runs, trials to test your faith, right? Verse 7, and in the time of their visitation they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble, right? And of course that's even going into spiritual powers, right? But we're going to shine. And even before this time, you have to believe through the Spirit, if you are of this faith, that you have a light on you, man. What is drawing a man to get up late at the night to do a lesson? What is drawing you to work 12, 14-hour shift? Because I know I'm not the only one. I know Yarmayan not the only one. I know brothers that I labor with and other brothers that's working 12, 14 hours, right? And they get done doing those shifts and they doing the lesson. Or during they shift, they're thinking of a lesson. You got the elder apostles. We talking about elders that been in this thing for a minute that still got a fire on them to teach the word, man. Doing 4 or 5 lessons in one day. What is causing that? The light that's within them. Through the Spirit, they're illuminated, man. Right? And this even goes with, when we look at verse 7, like this goes with the elect will be changed. 1 Corinthians 15:51. And shine and have spiritual powers glowing or illuminated like fire or lightning, literal and a symbolic light, which right now we're a symbolic light in a spiritual sense, right? But you got to have faith and believe that you have that spiritual light. Everybody's not going to believe that they got that spiritual light, right? I believe it, but I'm still in the flesh. I got to constantly work. Right, this is Baruch chapter 4 verse 1, because I was saying being illuminated. It says, and this is the book of the commandment of the Most High, in the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life. Who is life? St. John 14:6. Yahushua said he is the way, the truth, and the life. Right, you're gonna come to life. Right, those that's keeping the law, trying to establish it, you're gonna come to Yahushua. But such as leave it shall die, right? If you leave the law, which is not going to lead you to Yahushua, you're going to die. It says, turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light, right? And the 12 disciples was an example because they were walking in the presence of Yahushua, right? 1 John 1:7. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. We have fellowship with Hamashiach Yahushua if we walk in the light as he is in the light. 1 John 2:6. If ye abide in him, you must walk like he walked. He was in the light. Right? Back to Baruch 4:2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. True illuminated on this side is when you're enabled to truly understand the truth of the scriptures. That's how you're truly illuminated. Like this man being illuminated light, You can only be illuminated light in the spirit, right? Technically, if Yahweh Shai enable you in this truth like he did Paul, 1 Timothy 1 and 12. Right? He found me faithful in putting me in the ministry. But Yahweh Shai enabled him. He turned him on. Activated. Right? Let's get this in 2nd Ezra's. Second Ezra's 2 and 35. It says, be ready to receive the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Now I think that might be the GNT. So the KJV, I think maybe that was actually that was the KJV Salaki. It says, be ready to receive the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. Right? And again, this is showing that the elect will be given everlasting light, not only in wisdom, but a literal glorified presence. Because when you keep reading this, now those through the great multitude, starting with the elect and the great multitude, they're going to be crowned. They're going to be crowned. Right? But be ready to receive the reward of the kingdom. Right? You wanna be ready so you don't gotta get ready. And to be ready is to be those that are illuminated, like we read in Baruch. But it was something I was thinking of. Be ready to receive the reward. Oh yeah, I think I got it. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6 in verse 20. It says, therefore the desire of wisdom bringeth to the kingdom. But if 2nd Ezra's 2 and 35 says, be ready to receive the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. And we were saying earlier that the light is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And wisdom getteth you to the kingdom. That's why the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai is supposed to be important to you. And for those that are of the elect, you're doing it, man. You're doing it, brother. Sisters, continue to do what you're doing, because your light shining for you as a woman in this thing, and it's going to be beneficial for your children. Lord willing, single sister come across, it's going to be beneficial for her, because you're going to know how to be a wife. You're going to know how to be a mother, right? And those are the things that you're going to teach her. You're going to build her up in faith. But then, let alone us men, us being this illuminated light, we're going to be that teacher and that example for the men, women, and children, right? In Obadiah 1 and 21, it's other saviors. And the saviors are the elect on this side. We're many saviors, because first is Yahweh Shai, right? But Lord willing, is edifying, straight to the point. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahweh Shai, B'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit, knowing that y'all all continue to endure and be sincere. Shalom to the Akwati unbelievers in His faith and His truth. Lord willing, you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. With that, Shalom, Shalom, Abab, Abab.